right, good afternoon and welcome to today's session of Imagine America Radio, our continuing Career College Expositions webinar series. My name is Lee Doubleday and I'm with the Imagine America Foundation, and I'm excited about today's webinar with Lincoln Tech. Lincoln Tech has 22 campuses located throughout the United States, and these campuses have been educating tomorrow's workforce since 1946 and are accredited by the Accrediting Commission of Career Schools and Colleges. On today's webinar, we will be discussing Lincoln Tech's Indianapolis campus. This campus has an amazing history of graduating successful technicians for the auto, diesel, and collision repair industries. And Lincoln Tech is also a 20-year sponsor of the Imagine America Scholarship and Award programs, having provided admissions-based financial aid to more than 10,000 enrolling Imagine America students. Without taking valuable time from our presenter, let me refer any and all inquiries about the Imagine America Foundation to our website, www.imagine-america.org. Joining us today to discuss career and technical post-secondary education is Josh Kean. Josh is Lincoln Tech's high school ambassador. He has a passion for working with his hands and has been helping students reach their career goals with Lincoln Tech for over 6 years. We're excited to have Mr. Kean join us today to chat with you about career and technical education. But before turning the program over to Mr. Kean, let me outline today's agenda. Today's session of Imagine America Radio will be approximately 30 minutes long, with polls during the presentation for you to answer and engage with our presenter. All participants can submit questions while the presentation is in session via the Q&A chat feature in this Zoom meeting. At the end of the presentation, I will then present any questions offered by the participants, and we will address as many questions as possible and provide written responses and follow-up emails. So, without taking any more time out of today's presentation, let me turn today's session over to Josh Kean. Josh, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Lee. I appreciate you having us here today. I first would like to thank you, and I'd also like to thank our teachers that are joining us here today. So as we go through today, we're going to talk about Lincoln Tech and the road to success. Throughout the day, or throughout the next 30 minutes, you're going to have some polls that show up in front of you. If you can help us out and participate, it'll help us take the direction of this presentation. So we're going to go ahead and get started. As Lee discussed before, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box, and we'll go ahead and take care of those as we're going through the presentation. So for those of you that don't know what the skills gap is, I'm going to cover that here today. There is a gap that exists between skills that employers want and skills that our workforce has today. Here at Lincoln Tech, we've been around for 70 plus years. We've been putting graduates out into fields that are high in demand, such as automotive, diesel, welding, collision, and CNC machining. Throughout our presentation, we cover several different items in our presentation. Right now, we're currently doing virtual presentations, but we can also do in-person presentations as well. The first thing that we talk about when we do our presentations is defining a pathway to success. When we come into our classroom, our goal is to get your students and get them engaged and get them thinking about their future. So our presentation is not just Lincoln Tech, Lincoln Tech, Lincoln Tech, but it really focuses on life after high school. We also talk about researching career paths. Is your career going to be in demand, for the next 10, for the next 15 years? Post-secondary educational opportunities after high school. Managing a budget. This is really where we start to see the wheels spin. When you start to talk about money, students, kids, they know that down the road, they're eventually going to have to pay for their cell phones. They're going to have to make their car payments. They're going to have to pay their insurance. But some of them are just really unsure of what it costs. So when we talk, we go through that. We ask, how much do you think that this costs? How much do you think that this costs? And we lay it out. And then I always ask students, how many of you just want to get by? Show of hands. And ironically, no hands ever go up, right? Because as I'm asking that question, I'm saying just getting by means no new mud tires on your new truck, no new fishing rod, none of the latest and greatest hunting equipment, nothing outside of just being able to pay your bills. We talk about the value of a post-secondary education, starting a career versus finding a job. An acronym that we like to use here at Lincoln Tech for job is just over broke. because it's just that, right? We're hopping from job to job. And as you educators know, a career, something that you can be in for 25, 30 years and make a good living in it, you can do that here with the skilled trades. We also talk about financial aid and scholarships. So the first point that I want to talk about is success. And what is it? And we spend a fair amount of time talking about the success of your high school students. And the definition of success, the accomplishment of an aim or a purpose. And really and truly, at the end of the day, that's what your high school seniors are trying to find, a purpose. They're unsure, they're 17, they're 18, they're 19 years old, trying to make a decision that's going to affect them for the rest of their lives. When we come in, we talk about defining success. What does it look like? Can you visualize success down the road? And have you planned for your success? And I really like the quote that's here at the top of the screen. There's a powerful driving force inside every human being that once unleashed can make any vision, dream, or desire reality. I think that's very powerful because if your students have a vision, right, and they have a desire to be successful, it's just somebody leading them in that direction to help them find that success at the end of the day. So we spend quite a bit of time talking about success and what is it and what does it look like to you as an individual. And I would encourage all of you that are here with me today to think about that for yourself, right? Visualize what your success is. Today, I'm 33 years old. My definition of success has changed since I graduated high school, right? And I would expect that for you all as well. We have a vision. We have an idea of how to get there, and that's what we're trying to put forth to our high school seniors. Some good, interesting facts here on this slide on why CTE education is so important. I'm not going to read each and every one of them. There's a couple of them that I'd like to point out. But first, I'm going to talk about the graph that's here. This is specific to skilled trades. When companies are looking at long-term growth plans, they're trying to figure out where they need to spend money. And most companies at 81% are looking at long-term workforce planning. And why is that? Well, many of our skilled laborers are retired. They're aging out, which is leaving ample opportunity for our youth to come in and take these positions and have a long career in automotive, diesel, carpentry, plumbing, or any skilled trade for that matter. If you take a look at the screen, 80% of CTE students say that class helped them know where they were headed. I think that's very powerful. 78% of CTE graduates enroll in post-secondary education full-time. So those are just a couple facts here on why CTE is so important. Now, I'm sure most of you guys have heard of the skills gap by now. So what is the skills gap? It's a gap in the funding. It's a gap in the amount of jobs that are out there that are going unfilled because there's not enough people that want to get out there. So by 2028, employers across the country are projecting to add more than 3 million jobs in fields that you can train for here at Lincoln Tech. As we look across the board, 740,000 opportunities in automotive, 442,000 in diesel, heavy equipment, 428,000 in HVAC, 946,000 jobs available in electrical and electronic systems. 2020 has taught us a lot about what it takes to be an essential employee, right? When we look across the board, collision technicians, automotive technicians, welders, diesel and truck technicians, these guys were out when everybody else was stuck at home. These guys remained employed when people were being laid off and opportunities weren't there for them. But if you think about, let's just take diesel for just a second. Everything that we have at one point or another has had its life cycle through diesel, whether that's shipped on a semi to the grocery stores, or whether that's our infrastructure, the roads that you build on every day. But behind all of that is a technician that keeps those trucks up and moving every single day. Now, let's talk a little bit about our history. Lincoln Tech was founded in Newark, New Jersey in 1946. Our mission was to help returning World War II veterans get back into the civilian workforce. Over the 70 years that Lincoln Tech has been around, we have 250,000 graduates from 22 campuses in 14 different states. So let's talk specific to the Indianapolis campus. Our Indianapolis campus is located in the northwest corner of Indianapolis. We are the racing capital of the world, and the programs that we offer here are automotive, diesel, collision, CNC, electrical, and welding technology. So why Lincoln Tech? At Lincoln Tech, you have the opportunity to finish faster and start your career faster. Most of our programs average between 8 and 13 months. As far as the way that we teach, it's a hands-on teaching environment. So our students are going to get the classroom work, but they're going to go take that real life and they're going to apply it out into the classrooms. Career services. Not only do we help with part-time job placement, but we also do full-time job placement assistance upon graduation. Our instructors, they have real-world experience. We have national and local advisories so that if something changes within the industry, there's somebody there to help us along to build our curriculum. And then we've got financial aid and scholarships to those who qualify. Now, let's take a look at each program individually. First off, our diesel program. So you'll notice that there's two different programs. There's a 13-month diploma program and a 16-month associate's program. So if a student's not great at math and English and science and social studies, that's okay. They don't have to take those classes in our diploma program. That 16-month associate's program, they're going to take math, English, social studies, American government, and walk out in 16 months with an associate's program. So for those of us that are wondering what separates Lincoln Tech from a community college, number one, it's the time, right? You're able to graduate, you're able to get out into the workforce faster. We have ASE training. Students are going to get real hands-on training on live diesel engines, transmissions, welding and hydraulics. You take a look at our automotive program, again, 13 months diploma program, 16-month associate's program. Large shops, auto bays, and lifts. So as we continue on and we take a look at our welding program, it's an 8-month program where students are going to learn cutting and welding and cutting fundamentals, arc welding, blueprint reading. On the collision side, it's a 12-month program and a 17-month associate's degree program. I-CAR training, students are going to learn to weld, custom paints, and they're going to get out and they're going to be able to take a car from when it has been crashed and put it back to factory specs. We have a CNC machining program. So for those of you that are unsure of what CNC is, if you've got an iPhone sitting in front of you, if you've got a Yeti cup, those are both items that are machined. When we take a look at the medical industry, our hip replacements, knee replacements, any type of joint replacement, any type of medical device has all been made on a CNC machine. In our CNC machines, they're going to learn to blueprint read, multi-axis machining, and CAD and CAM training, and manual machining. One of the differences with our program is where we actually teach the programming aspect of CNC machining versus just hitting that button every time. Electrical and electronic systems. It's a 12-month program, 17-month associate's program. Smart home automation, residential electrical, surveillance system, fiber optic, and computer networking are just a couple things that they're going to learn here at our program. Now, I'm sure that most of you can recognize all of these sponsors here behind us or their affiliations. Companies like John Deere, CarMax, BMW, Ryder, Caterpillar, Kenworth. These are all companies that hire our graduates. As we dive into the career services aspect of what we do, this is also very important for our students. There's 3 parts to it, right? Your career edge in building your personal brand. Not only here do we teach them the hard skills with their hands, but we're also teaching them the soft skills. We're teaching students how to interview, how to answer questions, how to fill out applications, how to build a resume so that their resume is going to fall in front of the line. We bring employers to our campus. It's very important for our students. Twice a year, we average roughly 100 employers in May and October at our career fairs. I talked a little bit about the part-time job placement. We have full-time job placement upon graduation. And again, we're getting them out there, we're bringing employers to them, and really trying to help them uncover that hidden job market that exists. Now, results. This is also another difference between us and the community colleges. As we look around here, you see collision repair, 9 out of 10. Diesel, truck, and heavy equipment technicians, 9 out of 10. Computerized manufacturing, 9 out of 10 students that graduate our programs are being put out into the workforce. HVAC, 4 out of 5. Welding, 4 out of 5. Automotive, same thing. Our career services is an awesome feature that our students have access to. It's our priority to make sure that we're getting our students out into the workforce upon graduation. Now, most of our students, they do relocate to Indianapolis. So for students coming from Illinois, Ohio, Missouri, families are like, where's my son or where's my daughter going to live? We work with a company called Collegiate Housing Services, and this is actual apartment pictures, what you see here behind me. You've got apartments with full kitchens. They have access to all the amenities at that apartment complex, and it's a shared apartment. So there's 2 to 4 kids in that apartment. They'll share a bedroom with the student, but we do have the housing facilities available to the students. Student loans, money, right? This is probably the #1 obstacle that will deter a student from making a decision on whether or not to go to school. And at the end of the day, it's important for that student to realize that this is an investment in his future and that there's plenty of opportunities for them to be able to afford their education. Here at Lincoln Tech, you have federal and student aid, you have cash plans, parental loans, scholarships, 529s, student grants, and loans. And here at Lincoln Tech, over 90% of our students attending qualify for federal student aid. So there is opportunities for those students to help get that education paid for if they're eligible. Now moving on, we're going to talk about scholarships. Scholarships are also very important here. And at Lincoln Tech this year, our school is going to award over $14 million in grants and scholarships to qualified students. We also have several other options that a student can apply for while they're at our school. First is the FFA competitions. If you have a student who competes in state competitions, a regional competition, or all the way up to the national level, there's anywhere between a $500 scholarship and it goes up from there. Skills USA is the same thing. Imagine America, there's scholarships through their foundation, Micro Works, SEMA scholarships, and then we also, Lincoln Tech has their own scholarship test. It's a 20-question test. Student gets 20 minutes to take that test. They can win anywhere between $1,000 and $15,000 by just taking that test. What happens is once they score, there's a rubric that is graded for the students, and for our winners that meet $1,000, they will submit a scholarship portfolio. That portfolio is then sent to the campus, and 10 to 15 portfolios are selected. And then those students whose portfolios are selected are given interviews with industry partners. Here at our campus in Indianapolis last year, we had a vice president from Dodge and a regional manager from Crown Lifts that conducted our interviews. So there's lots and lots of opportunities for these students to help get money for their education. Now, how does a student get to come to Lincoln Tech? Well, we have a closed application process. So what does that mean? Here at Lincoln Tech, you just can't go online and fill out an application. We want to make sure that we've got the right student for our program. So what we do is we send an admissions representative out to sit down with the family and the student. Right now, everything's being done via Zoom, and it's designed to determine the student's eligibility for recommendation to the program. Is this student a good fit for Lincoln Tech? We talk about, housing, we talk about relocation, we talk about anything that could possibly deter a student or could be an obstacle for that student to be able to come and attend Lincoln Tech. We encourage them to dress appropriately, being prepared for that interview. You've got a resume or transcripts, letters of recommendation. Got to have the support system there. So mom and dad and grandma and grandpa, whoever that legal guardian has to be present for that interview. And here at Lincoln Tech, we do not have a GPA requirement. So I appreciate everybody's time here today. And now, if this is something that you all feel that would be beneficial for us to come in and present to your high school seniors, I have put a link into the chat box. You can click on that and we can schedule a presentation. You can scan that QR code, and that will also take you to a link. You can fill your information out. You can text me, you can email me your information, and I'll make sure that I get with you, and I will get you set up with a visit with an admissions representative. So at this time, I want to go ahead and open it up for some questions about what we do, and anybody has any questions about tuition or the housing or anything along those lines, now's the time that we can go ahead and open that up.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. It does look like we do have a couple of questions that have already come in, and we are going to now open this up for the Q&A portion of our session. So if you do have a question that you would like Josh to answer for you, please feel free to click on the Q&A feature in this presentation. Ask your questions. This is the time to do it. Make sure that you get your questions out and get them answered here live. I do have a question that comes in, and this person wants to know, if we wanted to talk to somebody at Lincoln Tech, maybe a local representative, should we go to the Lincoln Tech website, or should we just contact yourself directly?
You can just contact me directly. And again, I'll go ahead and put my information back there up on the screen. You can click on that link, scan that code, and we will definitely get with you as quick as we can.
Okay, great. And now it does look like I have another question that's come in. And this one wants to know if students are required to take the ACT or the SAT for entrance.
It's a great question. And no, they are not required to take an SAT or an ACT.
Okay. Another question, this person wants to know if you are currently doing virtual tours or any kind of like physical tours at the campuses.
So we are doing tours on Saturday mornings, but we do have virtual tours set up as well. And if that's something that you're interested in, again, if you can just shoot me your information via email or you can text me, be sure to get that link in your hands.
Okay, and I had another question that wanted to know about virtual tours to high school seniors or virtual presentations to high school seniors. And I will really quickly address that and just let you know that we are actually doing another one of these webinars, but more geared towards students next week with Lincoln Tech. So if you like what you heard here today, we will be sending out the link so that you can send those along to any high school seniors who might be interested in the programs that we've covered today and learning a little bit more about Lincoln Tech to join us next week on the 29th. And that will be at 4 p.m.
Awesome. So Lee, I'd like to elaborate a little bit on that if I can. We are also using Zoom. We use Google Meets. We use Microsoft Teams. We can pretty much cater to any platform that you as instructors are currently using for virtual presentations. And they take about 30 to 45 minutes, but once again, they can be catered to meet your schedule.
Got it. Okay. All right. I think that pretty much covers it. Oh, I do have another question that's come in that wants to know about the dorm situation or the housing situation. So I think you said that, there are students that come from, different states. So they may come from Michigan or they might come from Illinois and they travel to go to school with you and that you offer housing. Now, is that housing co-ed or how does that work?
It is not co-ed, so we don't have males living with females. Female students will live with female students, but we do have that housing option. And then, the families are always able to look and see if there's any apartments that maybe meet those needs for them as well. So collegiate housing can do both. They can help a student, find a place, or that the student can actually use collegiate housing services.
Okay, and then we had a question that just came in that wants to know if you can talk about the cost of the program and whether or not that includes housing.
Yep, so it does not include the cost of housing. Housing is separate. And it really honestly just varies based upon the program that the student is interested in. As far as a range, tuition can go anywhere between $18,000 and $35,000.
Okay, and Alexander, I will send you Josh's contact information so that he can contact you a little bit further about that as well. Okay, great. Well, thank you. And before closing, I just want to mention a few things. Number one, this presentation has been recorded. We will be sending the recording of this presentation so that you can send this along to any potential students or even your colleagues, other counselors and teachers. Before closing, I just want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us today. And I'd like to encourage any